Hello, my name is Lauren Indridson, and I'm here with the Southland Conference Opening Drive for another round of our head coaches table talk. I'm here with a few of our coaches. I will have you guys introduce yourselves.
Colby Carthel, Stephen F. Austin State University.
Clint Killough, University of the Incarnate Word.
Travis Bush, UTRGV.
Okay, so we are starting here with Stephen F. Austin, the Lumberjacks. Coach Carthel, welcome back to the Southland Conference.
Great to be here. Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah, so Stephen F. Austin football team begins a new but familiar chapter as they make their return to the Southland Conference this year following a 3-year absence from the SLC. After spending 2 years in the WAC and 1 year in the UAC, the Lumberjacks returned to the SLC where they spent their previous 34 years winning 4 conference titles and appearing in the FCS National Championship once while in the Southland. What does it mean to you to be back in the Southland Conference?
I'll tell you what it means. It's great to be back. You know, it's a great feeling. There's a lot of benefits and positives with our university, with our athletic department, and football in particular. I'm excited. We went from having 3 flights to 0 flights, so it sure makes life a little easier on us as coaches and our student athletes just from a travel standpoint. It's great in terms of getting back with some regional rivalries that have been, long-standing, that were put on pause for a few years. We're a founding member of the Southland Conference, and so just really excited to be back. Appreciate Commissioner Grant and his work to get us back here, and everybody's been very welcoming, and so we're excited to get things cranked back up this year.
And this panel is special because we have 2 of our newcomers on this panel, and something that we talked about whenever I was in UTRGV was just how important it is as a head coach to really take care of your players, as being in a space that is regional allows you guys, like you said, to prevent flights, and your travel is a lot better on your team, your staff. So what does that mean? What is the importance of that as a head coach?
Well, I think it's actually a move that, one move that, or decision that actually makes sense in college athletics right now. So much of what we're doing in college athletics doesn't make sense, but what's the old saying, common sense ain't all that common anymore. But it made a lot of sense to get back, and it's about student athletes, student athlete welfare, and the travel component alone. From a physical standpoint, and recovery there's so many benefits there, but it's also the amount of class time missed. And I know our administrators and higher ups research that, and just the amount of class time being missed. And
right.
Ultimately, you're playing college football or college sports to get a degree. I know everything else muddies the water right now, but that's what college sports is all about. And so I think this move for SFA helps our student athletes be in class and ultimately attain those degrees, which that's what it's all about.
And you guys will sport a new look this season. You've added 3 new coaches to your offensive staff. Talk about the moves that you have made coming into this new season.
One thing that's constant in college football is change, and I've been tasked with replacing a lot of coaches over the years, and that's I think a real positive when you see coaches move on and promoting the business. But offensively, we did have past 2 years there have been a lot of change on defense. This year it fell on the offensive side, but Coach Ross has come in. He's a legendary head coach, Texas high school coach for many years. He also coached at the FBS level at Boise State. And he's brought in a change. I mean, that was good to have spring ball, because we kind of erased the whiteboard and started over, and it's going to be a different style, a different look. I'm a defensive guy. I've always been kind of a slower paced offense. Just that's the defense mentality in me coming out. But I think this year will be a little different look for the Jacks on offense, and we're going to pick up the tempo a little bit and spin that thing down the field. So I think it'll be really exciting for our fans. Our players love it. It helped in recruiting, and so I expect us to put a few more points on the board and hopefully a few more wins in the win column.
And what can the Southland Conference expect from SFA this year?
I think just the team's going to come out and play hard, be exciting to watch, hopefully have a little grit to them, some East Texas tough, kind of that red dirt mindset. That's, people always said how the teams in East Texas always win, and a legendary coach, said one time that those little kids in elementary, 1st, 2nd grade, they go to school, their lunch pail, and they go to lunch, they eat their sandwich, and there's just red dirt that red dirt makes them tough, and we've kind of tried to embrace that. We're getting back to who we are and our footprint and what makes SFA great. And so hopefully there's some East Texas toughness showing every Saturday, and we're able to play an exciting brand of football and win a few ball games.
And I know we're super excited to have you back in the Southland Conference, so welcome back.
Thank you, Lauren.
Moving on now to University of Incarnate Word, Coach Killough. This is your second season as head coach. You were named to DCTF 2024 40 under 40 list and AFCA 35 under 30. You have the fifth longest active ranking streak in the nation behind North Dakota State, South Dakota, Montana, and Montana State. Hero Sports ranked the Cardinals number 12 in the FCS preseason top 25 list. What does that mean to you as a head coach coming into year two?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Year two has kind of gotten me accustomed to this a little bit more second time around, and these preseason things, they're great, and our guys love them. Obviously, anytime that we get to elevate the individual while bringing the team success up as well,
right,
is a big deal. So they're great for the individual, they're great for the team and everything, but I think that just to have a grasp of it at the end of the day, I mean, the end of the season accolades are what are more important than anything.
You and your staff have been to work this off season, right? Picked up 12 FBS and 7 FCS student athletes for this upcoming season. What has your approach been this off season to get ready for year two?
Yeah, recruiting, I mean, it's so unique nowadays, and it's such a dynamic thing, and I think that every year is pretty subjective in the recruiting process in terms of where you attack, whether that's high school, whether that's junior college, either the transfer portal.
Right.
Is it a transfer portal guy with multiple years? Is it a graduate transfer that may have 6 months to a year? But really just finding the fit, finding guys that work at UIW that fit our system offensively and defensively, and guys that love football. That's hard to find nowadays, to be totally honest with you, because there's a lot of other prerogatives that are being chased, to be honest with you.
Right.
But I think that if you can put a bunch of guys in a locker room that love football, you can still win a lot of football games. And
what is your goal for the Cardinals this season?
Yeah, I think it would be the same as any of these coaches sitting up here, and that's to win a championship. I think everybody has the same goal in that mindset. We've been accustomed to being successful over these past few years. Obviously, last year didn't end how we wanted it to end.
Right.
But I think that the humility that not only myself but this program gained was a blessing. And it's something that we needed, and it's really helped us in this offseason to kind of hunker down and get back to the roots of being a blue-collar program that elevated as quickly as it did, because that's the roots of what it did. I was fortunate to spend a good amount of time. Eric Morris hired me in 2018, and he's a guy that's no job too big, no job too small. Pull your boots up and get to work every single day, and I think that we did a tremendous job this offseason of getting back to that.
So what can the Southland Conference expect from you guys this season?
We've created a niche in how we do things. We're going to spread it out. We're going to be high octane, fast tempo. We're going to put the ball outside the hash marks and make you tackle our athletes. I think the biggest thing that we were able to do is, in the hiring process as a first-year head coach is it's wearing. Because you sit in there. When I got the job, I was the only one in the office. All the lights are out except my office, and I'm on the whiteboard, and I'm just going through names and numbers, and I'm calling people, and I'm asking questions and everything. And one of the hires that I'm extremely fortunate for is a guy named Jim Gush, who's our defensive coordinator. Jim has a plethora of knowledge and experience in this game, and he kind of incorporated that physicality on the defensive side of the ball and that presence that we've missed for a few years. I know we played Colby in 2021. I was a receivers coach back then, but they put a bunch of points up. They had Gibson, and they had the quarterback. They were really good players. But on the defensive side of the ball, I think we made tremendous strides. So I think the physicality is something that we're going to add to that high octane offense again.
All right, well, we're excited to see you. Moving on now to UTRGV. Coach Bush, welcome back as well, back to the Southland Conference.
Yeah. We've got the second conference we've been in, and we haven't even played a game yet, so it's
We're excited. Yeah, we're excited to have you back. 6 of the UTRGV coaches have a combined 36 years of coaching experience in the Southland Conference, and 4 UTRGV coaches have a combined 14 years of playing experience in the Southland Conference. So, what does it mean to you guys to be back with the Southland?
It's a no-brainer for us, and we're excited. Like I said, a lot of familiarity with it, and great conference. And I played in the Southland at Southwest Texas. My grandfather played at SFA in the 30s, and my dad played at Lamar in the 60s. So familiarity with the teams, and always loved it. Coached in the conference for 6 years at Texas State. So glad to have SFA back, and the historic programs and all the history that comes with it. And, it's a great league for us, and definitely more local league to be in than the old one.
And speaking of local, 74 student athletes, 100% of the roster is from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean to you guys at UTRGV to just be able to recruit from home, from places that they're familiar? We've been talking a lot about the culture and the religion of football in Texas and Louisiana. So what does that mean to you as a head coach to build on that?
Well, without a doubt, in this state, obviously feel like that's the best football in the nation, especially for high school student athletes, and over 70 of them are coming straight out of high school,
right?
And really pleasantly surprised about some of the quality of athletes we're able to get, especially that we're willing to pay their own way, and talk about guys that just want to play football. And with so many high school kids not getting recruited right now because of the portal, we're fortunate to get a bunch. So we're excited to get them on campus. Still haven't stepped foot on campus yet. We're about 30 days away from getting them down there, and
right.
and going through this fall and seeing what they can do.
And so you guys won't start until 2025. What is your goal? What is your focus as you have new young players playing for you?
That's and being a part of it at UTSA starting out, and then one of the things we didn't realize until we got them on campus was when they get there, there's nobody to show them how to do anything. There are no upperclassmen, there's no seniors,
right.
So we as coaches have to be those models starting out, but definitely the focus. Now there's no culture to change. There's nothing to no bad habits to break. So everything is going to be taught from our end. So again, it's on us to set the foundation, to set the culture. And one of the qualities we were looking for in this group was those mature leaders, and the team leaders, the guys that are coming out of high school, but being able to come in here and be leaders right off the bat to help this group, set the foundation.
What are some values that you want to instill into this group of guys to create the culture that you want?
It fits right in. Our core values on our team fit right into our letters, UTRGV, and that's unity, trust, respect, growth, and vision. Which is kind of where we're at. And I think the two most important pieces to any team, any culture is that unity and trust. And then obviously that respect and growth and vision is where we're at right now. And you look at, you sit here and talk about Incarnate Word, who just started not too long ago, and they're top of the nation, talking about championships, and great model for us and where we're at. How soon can we be sitting in a chair talking about championships and being in the national rankings?
Well, we are so excited to have you guys back in the Southland Conference, but getting into growth and vision amongst all of you guys, what does it mean to y'all as head coaches to have the growth and the vision from our commissioner, Chris Grant, to add both of you back into the Southland Conference? What does that mean to you as head coaches to be a part of that?
Commissioner Grant does a great job, and I really appreciate his leadership and his vision for the conference. And that was a big part of us coming back, is to see that the Southland and where they are. And you talk about leadership and vision. I've coached 5 seasons at SFA, and about 2 months ago I started working for my 6th president. And so there's been a lot of turnover and change there. And so to have a new president, Dr. Neil Weaver come in, a new athletic director, Michael McBroom. Both those guys are proven and have a great vision for what they want with SFA, and that was their trademark stamp on the program of our athletics, is getting back with the Southland Conference and where we can build and elevate and grow our programs across the board in a great conference that's regionally located. We're playing home games people can come to. We can also go on the road and play games where our future students are, not just student athletes, but students in terms of growing talk about growth and vision. We've got a great vision for our university and how we want to grow SFA. And so being in this Southland Conference footprint, I think really aligns with that and heading in a great direction as a university and as a conference. And so Commissioner Grant has a big role in us being there with his vision for growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, at UIW, one of our big things is winning with intention, because there's so much movement nowadays in so many facets of life that you really got to be intentional with what you're doing. And I think that growth is great, but it doesn't have intention, then there's no purpose with it. And
Right.
I think that, his growth right now and his direction has a lot of intention with in terms of geographically bringing us all together, making the ease of travel and recruiting and all these types of things. So I think the intention that he has is tremendous. And I have a little bit of a unique perspective. I was a player in a conference from 13 to 15, and I remember my first away trip was a 10-hour bus ride to UCA. And
Wow.
Is that fun?
Game didn't go our way, so it wasn't fun on the way back.
20 hours on the way home.
Yeah, about right.
What it felt like.
About right.
Yeah.
About right.
Yeah.
But just from my experience and seeing what the conference was when I came into it as a player, and even those first couple years when I worked for Eric in 18 and 19, and just the power of the conference and the notoriety throughout the nation. And last year was a little bit different from me, just because we got into the the end of the season and we're talking about strength of schedule and how the conference compares to the the Missouri Valleys and the Big Skies of the world. But I'm a guy, I believe in the Southland Conference. Southland Conference has been one of the best conferences in the country for a long time. And the steps that we've taken this offseason are getting us right back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously I don't have the experience these guys do coaching in the conference, but you listen to Chris and you listen to the plans, the vision for the conference. You can't help but get excited, and excited about where it is, what it's going to be, and where it's going. So for us, we're fired up.
And speaking of, being recognized on a national level as head coaches, what is your goal to get into the outside community to start building the brand recognition and building the hype around the Southland Conference that you guys are a part of?
Starts at home, Nacogdoches, UTRGV, San Antonio. It starts here,
Yep.
and it starts with winning football games. It starts with getting out in the community when you have the opportunity to get your players out there, get your coaches out there, local businesses, whatever it may be. And I also think that recruiting's tied into it a little bit. Being able to recruit the state of Texas and really getting those families that get those deep roots and get those guys in your program and develop them into good quality young men. That's where you start.
This is a good start too. There's 15,000 coaches right downstairs that are seeing the Southland Conference and hearing us talk about it today. So this was a good start, starting right here too.
Yep.
I think it's just, like I said earlier, a lot of things don't make sense in college sports right now, but this conference does, and the footprint and where it is, and I think there's some tremendous head coaches on this stage, and then we just had our head coaches meeting earlier, and rooting for each other. Yes, we're not going to like each other when we play October 28th or something. I won't like him then, but other than that, we're rooting for each other to help elevate. And there was a time when Southland had 4 teams in the NCAA playoffs, and that's
Right.
That's what we want to get it back to. And so I think just coming back in and seeing it and hearing the different ADs and head coaches talk. Everybody's pushing the rock in the same direction now in terms of elevating the Southland Conference. Like Coach said, having this thing right now with, I think there's 18,000 Texas high school coaches here, and we'll do the same thing over there in Louisiana and just continue to build and elevate this conference at home and rooting each other on along the way to do that. I think sky's the limit for the Southland.
And as we wrap up, I want to know, what has been your most important accomplishment as a head coach or a coach in general?
I became a dad. Yeah, I got a 1-year-old daughter named Catherine. Her and my wife went to my in-laws for the past week, so they just got back in town about an hour ago. So as soon as we wrap it up here, I don't know if I'm gonna make it any of the socials tonight. I'm gonna go home and play with my daughter. So that's probably the best thing I've done since I've been a coach.
I love that. Congratulations.
I think just the platform that the good Lord blesses you with. I think good Lord blesses all with different talents, and He didn't bless me to be a pulpit minister, but He allowed me to lead men through the game of football, and I've been very fortunate to do that. 12 years now as a head coach, and so I think that's pretty special, and really enjoy every day that I get to do it, and it's an honor to be called coach. I think other than dad, it's the second greatest thing you can be called while you're on this earth, is to be called coach, because you have a great impact on people's lives, and this world needs it. This world needs, you know, coaches like Coach Killough, Coach Bush, and the other coaches in this league that are pouring into kids for the right reason, to help them, because this world ain't getting any easier, and they need good football coaches.
Yeah, that's the biggest reason, you know, to have that opportunity to influence young men. And I play for my father. He's probably the most influential coach in my life. And then having the ability to coach my sons in high school the past few years, and you know, hopefully might have the chance to do it with a young one again. But just that time to pour into young men, but especially when it's your own. You're gonna blink and you're gonna be 18 and 22 and not want anything to do with you anymore.
Your son's going to be walking through the office door wearing an SFA football shirt.
Yes. How about my son walks in to work out in our place this week with an SFA shirt on?
He was just at our camp too.
Yeah,
He'll wear your shirt here in a minute too.
Yeah.
He sent me that. I was like, that's a great camp shirt right there now.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining me. Best of luck this season.
Thanks,
Thank you, Lord.